Okay, we are live. Good to see everybody. It's Andrew back again. Another live stream here. It is Thursday, July 18th, 5:47 p.m. Pacific time here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you're having a good week, and hope we have a good live unboxing here. We have the ThinkPad T14s Gen 6 running the Snapdragon X Elite processor. We finally get a business-focused laptop running this new ARM-based processor, the Snapdragon X Elite. So our first look at it, and hopefully it'll give us the good battery life. It'll run cool and quiet. But one thing we have on this one that we don't get on any of the other initial launch here for the Copilot Plus PCs is the legendary ThinkPad keyboard. Hopefully it'll be good on this. I do anticipate it being very good. We have hopefully a nice display and the ThinkPad build quality, ThinkPad iconic look. We got the track point, the trackpad, and of course, that Eclipse Black is what they're calling it. Of course, that is traditional here. So hopefully everybody is doing okay. All right, so we have about 40 or so of you to start this off. I don't know how many people are going to show up. I didn't realize, I think President Trump is speaking. I don't know if he's speaking yet, but we would have to, I should have probably factored that in, but I figured let's get this unboxed. We got a lot of things coming. Now, speaking of which, there are a lot of new stuff coming, especially Zen 5 from AMD. We're going to get that AMD Ryzen AI Strix Point processors. I do have a laptop or a couple of laptops coming early next week. The embargo, I think, lifts end of July. So we're getting very, very close. For those wanting to see Zen 5 on these laptops, it's coming. We'll see how they compare with these Copilot Plus PCs running the Snapdragon X series. And of course, we also are anticipating down the road, not that far away actually, is the, of course, Lunar Lake from Intel. So that's going to be a big step up over the Meteor Lake, apparently. So a lot of stuff coming here, and we got a lot of things to look forward to. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. You don't want to miss anything. Now, we do have 164,000 subscribers. We're about to hit 165,000. I want to get to at least 170, 175 by the end of the year. All right. So we have about 50 of you. So let's get right to it. Let's say hello to a few people here while the people are still filing in. Jason Saba waiting on the P1 Gen 7. Yeah, I'm waiting on Lenovo to send that over. Good to see Neobiome 777. Good to see Nitish here. How are you, my friend? The Slim Shadiest, always good to see you. I love the intro music. Okay. Arizona Novak Moon, what's up? And good to see our moderator and good friend, Raphael. How are you? All right. So Let's take a look at the specs, and then we'll get it out of the box as we normally do here. So typical ThinkPad packaging here. And of course, nothing going to be too fancy, but we want to make sure it is a nice laptop. Of course, I do anticipate that. So let's take a look at the specs, and then we'll get it out, of course. So I'll bring it onto the stream here. And as you can see, the T14s from the ThinkPad line from Lenovo, 14-inch full HD plus display, 1920 by 1200. You're looking at Snapdragon X Elite. I don't know which one it has, whether it's a 78-100, 80-100, 84-100. Excuse me, we'll see in a little bit. Qualcomm Adreno graphics. We're looking at 32 gigabytes of RAM, or up to 32 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not sure how much my review unit has, but you can outfit it with up to 32, at least from what I understand. 8448 mega transfers per second, dual channel memory, 1 terabyte of storage. You could also expand that out from what I understand. 58 watt hour battery that supports rapid charge. We got Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.3. And then we're looking at, in terms of weight, we're looking at, well, let me go back a little bit. As far as weight, we're looking at 1.24 kilograms or 2.72 pounds. Full HD camera, should be IR. 2 2-watt speakers here, Dolby Audio. In the Eclipse Black, the iconic look, of course, of a ThinkPad. And then, of course, we'll take a look at the ports in a little bit. So we'll get that out of the box. All right, so as far as pricing and all that, you're looking at a price of $1,754.35. Again, a business laptop here. This is not a consumer-based laptop. And we're looking at a 14-inch Snapdragon processor here. That's what's going to mean, of course, meaning it is an ARM-based processor. A lot of security features of the ThinkPad, obviously, not for the consumer, but more for the businesses that will roll these out in their fleet. And of course, a lot of hype around these Copilot Plus PCs. This sort of rounds it out. This is, again, our first look at a business-focused laptop as we see the promo video and so forth. So let's take that off here. And without further ado, you know the drill, folks. Let's get this out of the box. Okay, so here we have the unit. Feels pretty light, lighter than I expected. We'll get a measurement of the weight, and then of course we get a box here, which presumably will have our power adapter. Here's our power cord. We've seen this a million times, of course. There you go with that. And then let's see the size of the power charger. Wow, pretty compact once again from Lenovo. And this is 65 watts. USB Type-C. Okay, so pretty compact. And then, of course, the unit itself. Let's get this out of the paper here. Wow, there she is. Wow, that looks nice. This is the Eclipse Black. You can see it here. The Eclipse Black will probably collect, I would anticipate, quite a bit of fingerprints. It says T14s over here. Let's put it there. Yeah, so some branding there. ThinkPad branding, iconic, of course. Lenovo branding there. Very clean, and get a look at it, folks, because it won't stay that way, I'm sure. Although they have improved, I will say this, they have improved the oleophobic coating recently, last few years. A little bit thicker than a X1 Carbon. I might have one around here somewhere. Let me see here. Do I have that? I may have it here somewhere. We'll take a look at the weight in a moment. 1 second. Hold on. Okay, and just wanted to move that out of the way. Let's get the scale over here. We'll get that ready. So let's take a look at this. This is beautiful. This has, again, the little communication bar there. Oops, so light. Let's try that again. You can sort of open it with one finger, but it's a lot lighter than I was expecting. You can go back 180 degrees as you see there. So pretty nice. Really great keyboard. I can tell you right off the bat. Oh, love the keyboards. Wow, this is really, really nice. Let's give it a listen. I really love these keyboards because they really are comfortable. They've got really nice tactility, good feedback on this. I would imagine the key travel maybe 1.3, 1.4 millimeters or something to that effect. I'll have to look into that. Here's your power button. Should also be a fingerprint scanner as well, from what I understand. You get your Copilot key there. You also get your mouse buttons, physical mouse buttons, because you do have the track point right there. And then you get some Snapdragon branding there, Snapdragon X Elite, ThinkPad branding there. That's etched into the unit with the little red dot there that we're used to. And looking pretty good. Now, let's take a look at the ports here. Let me move this out of the way. And there you can see we get two USB 4.0 ports. They should be full function. So hopefully we'll get Thunderbolt support out of that. We also get an HDMI 2.1. You get a 3.5 millimeter microphone headphone combo jack. So far, looking pretty good. And then on the right side, you got to love the ports here. I mean, two USB Type A ports, not one, two. That's really good. And a Kensington lock port. So notably missing, there's no SD card reader. That would have made this really killer. Not exactly the X1 Carbon. I think Zachary's saying it's not an X1, but it's not meant to be. But would this be pretty interesting if this was, they put a ARM-based processor in the X1? That would be pretty interesting in that Carbon. You can see here, again, close-up of the keyboard and the touchpad, track point, everything. Two speaker grills there, it looks like. So very, very nice. Now, you have a shutter switch here, if I can move it down there. So there's a physical shutter switch, a slider, and that turns red when you turn off the webcam, gives you more security and privacy. All right, so that is, and again, this looks like a matte display. You can see the pretty thin side bezels, a little bit of a bezel there, and then again, you have the communication bar, the reverse notch up there. So that is the layout. Let's get a measurement of the weight here. Bring out our scale. Turn that on. Make sure it's 0. There we go. And let's put it into kilograms. So with just the unit alone, you're looking at 1.217 kilograms, and that is 2 pounds, 10.9 ounces. So very light. That was one of the things I noticed as soon as I took it out of the box. It really hit you. It really was light feeling. And then obviously being a little bit over, a little shade under 3 pounds here, 2 pounds, 10.9 ounces is certainly a lightweight laptop. Now, let's put it back into kilograms here. And let's put the power charger and the power cord, what you throw in your bag, 1.472 kilograms. And that is 3 pounds, 3.9 ounces all in. So a pretty good travel laptop, especially if you want to get work done on an airplane. Hopefully we'll get that really great battery life we've been seeing on the Snapdragon X Elite. So hopefully this will be really good. So there you go. There we have the weight and the size here. It's a little thicker than obviously an X1 Carbon. I should probably try to find, I probably have it here somewhere. If we have a little bit of time, I'll pull it out. But there is the thickness. You can see it there. It's not the thinnest, but it's also got some pretty good ports and hopefully really good, not only good ports, but it also have good battery life and everything like that. I lost my train of thought. But there we have our first super chat. We'll get to that in a moment. Here you can see it here. That's how thin. And yeah, it's very nice. And again, I can't believe how light it is. All right. So I want to thank Raphael. Let's bring that onto the stream here for the super chat. Always appreciate what you do and your hard work. I do appreciate that, Raphael. So I do Thank you. All right, so let's turn this on. Let's put it over here for a second. Let's open this up. And again, it goes back 180 degrees. But one thing I do want to see a little bit, is there a lot of screen flex? Not a little bit, maybe. Let's see here. Let's see when you type. Not much. Actually, not much. Good hinges here. So this is the hinges right there. It's pretty good. And I will say this, according to the fingerprints are not an issue so far. And I'm a little bit surprised. So the oleophobic coating is looking pretty good. According to Brian, when are we getting the X1 Yoga? Also will be going to be Snapdragon or X Elite 2. I didn't hear anything about a 2-in-1 convertible from Lenovo, at least not yet. So we'll have to see. All right, let's turn this on. Let's also plug it in. So we could probably plug it in one of the USB-C ports over there. Good to see William here. Is the storage upgradable? Yes. Should be. We'll open it up if we have some time. I'll show you in the video for sure. They should have replaced one of the USB-A ports with an SD card reader. Yeah, it would have been nice. You know, it's just, I guess this is the S version, so maybe the T14, the standard version. I don't think that one has it either, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't remember off the top of my head. But this is a matte display. So this is a full HD plus. So, of course, that is going to be going to give you the most battery life out of it. So let me see. So there we go. This is a pretty nice display. Now, it's not a touch screen. So for those wondering if it's a touch screen, it's not. It's a matte display, so you don't get unnecessary glare and reflections, or minimal. You can see a little bit. Again, I have very bright studio lights here, so just bear that in mind. But as you can see from the side angle here, very readable. This is a very nice looking laptop. Now I'm going to put it on me for a second, as I want to put this into, get it connected to my network here. So let's do that. Okay. So that's connected up. And the other thing I want to do, let's take a look real quick at the display settings. So the display is probably going to be pretty standard here. I don't think it's a 60 hertz. Again, business laptop. Yeah, it's a 60 hertz display, and you can see what I'm doing here. 1920 by 1200, 60 hertz, 8-bit. And then if I go back here, go back up a little bit. Let's bring the scaling down. I'm going to put it to 125. On a full HD plus, I like to get it. That should be good for that. And then let's take a look real quick at which processor we have. Let's go to the system here. And you can see here, you got the X1E 78100. So same as the Yoga Slim 7X, which I have here also. And that one, of course, is also running the X1E 78100. So you don't get the benefit of the, sorry about that, don't get the benefit of the dual core boost that you get on the 8100. Now, one other thing I want to do, I want to put this into the power setting that is best performance. I also want to turn off my screen. I'm turning that off. And then wake on approach, I'm turning off. Okay. And then I'm also turning off the sleep and all that stuff, so we don't get distracted here. All right, so right now the brightness is fully high up. Now it's a 400 nit display, IPS, non-touch. It also has hopefully good coverage of the color gamut. Again, you're going to be doing productivity task on this, and it is a ThinkPad. So you're going to do Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, and the like. So that's exactly what you're going to be doing on this one. I wouldn't be trying to do 4K video editing. This is not really designed for that. This is you take on an airplane. You want to work on spreadsheets. You want to work on documents, emails. You want longevity. So this is what that's going to provide. Now that we have this up and running, it is silent so far. I have not heard any fan noise or anything, and I'm sure there's going to be updates and so forth. Let me go to the Geekbench website here, and let's download Geekbench. And let's continue there. And then let's confirm and start browsing here. So let me put this at geekbench.com. Okay. And let me download. And again, this is for ARM. So this is going to be native to ARM, as you know, as we have about 80 of you watching. Let me see here what's going on here. Some people are trying to contact me. Anyway, so far looking pretty good. Again, I love a matte display. Now, some people want glossy, you want OLED. Let me see real quick. Let me go to the website here. Let me go ThinkPad T14 Snapdragon here. So according to Lenovo's website, let me see the different options for the display. So right now, I think there's one SKU, and that's, I think, the one we have. It's 175435. And this is it. I think this is the only display option, at least that I see here. This is a low-powered 14-inch 1920 by 1200 display. 400 nits, as I mentioned. Now, I also wanted to see real quick, and let me put it back over here. Let me go back to the system. And 32 gigabytes of RAM. So 32 gigabytes of the 8448 or the 8448 mega transfers per second. Love that. And of course, that I'm assuming is soldered in, right? Because you're able to get those fast transfers with it being soldered in. Now, that is like all the other Copilot Plus PCs we've been seeing so far, where you're getting that 8448. So that's good. So let's load in Geekbench, and we're going to put it on the performance mode here in a moment. We already did that on the Windows side, but let me see the Lenovo ThinkVantage app, or whatever they're calling it nowadays. But let's load this in, and then we can get this up and running and get our first benchmark. So that is what we're doing. All right, so there's the Geekbench. We'll show this later. All right, so 32 gigabytes of RAM, the X1 E78100. That's the one without the dual core boost. Let me go to the ThinkPad or Vantage app, whatever they're calling it here, Commercial Vantage. Okay, and then let me go to the device, power. And I think they're using the intelligent cooling here. So that means it's going to do it automatically. And again, I put it on the system settings from the Windows side to performance mode. All right, let's close this up here. Let's run our first benchmark. And I'll take some water. And some of your questions. Is the storage upgradable? Yeah, we'll open it up. Should be pretty easy to open up at some point here today. As I take some water in the very hot Las Vegas, although I made it pretty cool down here. Let's see. Not too active in the chat here. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we've been seeing good single multi-core performance, and then while that's doing that, let me move this over to the side here. And let's just give it a side-by-side here with its sibling, the Yoga Slim 7X. Now, this one, of course, is consumer-based, and it also is collecting, believe it or not, more fingerprints than this one. That's why I'm wiping it down. And I also have, looks like I do have the carbon here. Let me see which one this is. Yeah, this is the carbon Gen 12. So I do have them all here. Let's put that back there so we'll get a look at it. But let's take a look at the side-by-side with the new Snapdragon here, its sibling. And there is you can take a look at them over here. Again, this one collects more fingerprints than I'd like. Okay, let me wipe that down. And you see the difference between a glossy display and a matte display. So there you can see that. So let me close this all up here. Running the same version, which is going to be the 78100. And that is what these look like side by side. And as you can see, less fingerprints on this one. But thickness-wise, this is a little bit thicker. You can see here on the side. But size-wise, I would say they pretty much are similar in terms of the footprint. So pretty decent in that regard. I think you're not going to see a big difference between the two. This is, I think, lighter than this one, okay? So now, this is this one over here, but let's bring out this one. I haven't charged it or anything, but I don't know. And one of the things I notice is good standby time on these Copilot Plus PCs, better than the Intel, better than the Meteor Lake. So look at that, boom, that will open that one up. So very similar in terms of the height here. So I don't know if this has any juice. I think they moved the power button's on the side here. So I'm going to plug this one in. Yeah, so this one I haven't used it in a while. So I don't remember if the one they sent me has the U or the 8 series, but we'll take a look at it. Again, Core Ultra 7, I believe, on this one. It's lit up there, so it's going to give it a little bit of juice here. Let me see if that could turn that on. Well, we're trying to get our first benchmark here. Very similar in terms of this kind of layout, although the slider switch over here is over here as opposed to this one. And it has Intel Evo branding on this one. So obviously, I believe this is the OLED, if I remember correctly. They sent me the OLED 2880 by 1800. So it's going to look a lot nicer, I think, on this one. Let me bring the brightness up here. Yeah, you can see that. Let me bring that down a little bit. IR camera, obviously. Let me take a look at the settings here. And 2880 by 1800, OLED, 120 hertz. Okay, so this is going to have the higher refresh rate. This is also going to have the nicer display. It's also non-touch on this one. So there you can see that. All right, so beautiful, beautiful looking X1 Carbon. Now, I wonder what this one would be like next to this one. Now, I hear the fan noise on this one. I hear it a little bit on this one, but I certainly hear it on this one. Now, another difference here, even though these are both Copilot plus PC, well, no, this is a Copilot plus PCs, even though they have a Windows Copilot functionality, I should say. This one has the Copilot button here, right there, but this one doesn't. But this has a fingerprint scanner over there. You can probably see it better here. Yeah. So no Copilot key on this one. The other thing is they make a variant of this one with a haptic touchpad, right? From Sensel, which we love and we know. So this one is not that. Hopefully I'll get one at some point, and that will be without the physical buttons here, and they still have the track point from what I remember, but again, they would use a haptic touchpad there. So yeah, this is OLED, and this is IPS. And check out this really impressive number right off the bat. Really, really impressive here. 2446 single core. Probably will go up once I update everything. 14,490 multi-core. So let me take my screenshot on that. Let me do a favor. Let me go here. I don't know if I have the same version of the Geekbench. And again, I haven't used this. I haven't updated it. But just to give you an idea, let me go back over here. Just to give you an idea of what this one will give you. And again, Core Ultra 7, I believe it's 155H. And let me make sure this is in the same power setting here. Yeah, it's on the best performance. And let me make sure that the Lenovo Vantage app is not, there's no setting there that I can go with. And let me see something also. Can I do function Q like we can on some of the other laptops from Lenovo? No, you cannot do it like you can on the Yoga. All right, now, let me go to the device here, power settings. Yeah, this also is using the intelligent cooling, so same thing. All right, so let's run the benchmark on here. It's the Core Ultra 7 155H. 12 core, what is it? How many cores does it have? It has 16 cores, 22 threads. Let's do it. So we got our score on this one. Just to give you an example of what you can expect from the X1 Carbon running the Intel-based Meteor Lake here. So interesting. So this is the H series. Let me just make sure if that's correct. Yeah, this is the H series, so at least we get that. Not the U series, which was really a poor performer in my opinion. So I'm glad to see the 8 series here. Now, when looking at this, you will expect better single and multi-core performance here. Andrew, could you please check updates via the Vantage after first test? Maybe there's something updatable and we can get extra stability and performance, mainly about the T14s. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I just took it out of the box. I'm going to do all the updates. I'm going to bring you a full review on it. But I can tell you, keyboard is very similar to the X1 Carbon, maybe even a little bit better. There's a little bit more room here, I think. It's a little taller than this one. So that should be pretty interesting. I want to see what we can get single multi-core here. All right. And then according to J-Dog's channel, out of all the X Elite laptops, which would be the best for students? That's a good question. For a student, I would look at the Lenovo Yoga Slim 7X. So that would be this one. Let me bring it over here. I think the price is better than the Surface Laptop 7. I think it's a little too expensive, although they do make one with the X Plus processor, and they do offer a student discount. But I'm a big fan of this one. This is of course, the Yoga Slim 7X. And again, I did a video on it. I did my first look review. I did my full review. And one of my favorites of it, it's got a gorgeous OLED display. This is 90 hertz. This is 120. This is 60. But I think at the end of the day, the 90 hertz is a good blend to getting you good performance, good smoothness, and everything you'd want out of a high refresh rate. But you also get a really good battery life on this. So you're not skimping out on that. Build quality is excellent. Good key travel. Love the keys on this. It does collect fingerprints with this cosmic blue. But as you can see, I mean, it is thin. It is light. You could upgrade the SSD on this. I think it's got a lot going for it. So to me, a student would like this. Now, I do have the 15-inch here, laptop 7, if I can bring that onto the stream here. And this one, let me put this in the back there for a little bit while we start looking at some of this stuff here. So this one is running the 8100. Now, I already looked at that 13.8-inch version. That one, I didn't have the platinum. I had that in, what was it called? Platinum? It's like a bluish color. It was pretty gorgeous. That was pretty nice. This one is really nice. You can see the glossy display. But the difference between these two, this is not OLED. This is IPS. This one's OLED. So if you're afraid of screen burn-in, or you may have those concerns about the screen door effect and all that, I would look at this one. So far, battery life, 20 plus hours on video playback. That's pretty amazing. And I'll bring you into my full review. I got 20 hours plus on the smaller one, but with this 66 watt hour battery, I'm getting really good battery life on this. It's really, in terms of everyday use, this has been really good. So for a student, I would stick to these two. All right, so we got a lot of laptops here, a lot of stuff going on here. Maybe it's too much stuff. Let's go here. Somebody's at the door, of course. Let me see who that is. And then let's see here. Somebody's at the door. Somebody probably just dropped off a package. Could be another laptop that I can't talk about. All right. So these are the differences between the two. Now, if you're a student, I would go with this one. Hopefully that answered your question. I know I did it in a roundabout way. We're still waiting on that result from the X1 Carbon. But if we take a look at this one, the Surface Laptop 7, build quality is a little bit nicer than the Yoga, although the build quality is very good, but this is really MacBook-esque. I mean, the way the premiumness just oozes out of this, right? Really, really good. I mean, I'm really impressed with what they did with this time around. I like the thinner bezels. Finally, we get thinner bezels. You do get a touch display on here like you get on this one. So very nice. Again, you don't get the OLED, but you do get this beautiful IPS display. So it's good. All right, now let's close this. Let's bring this one back. And this was a pretty poor score when you think about it. 1949 versus 9193. So obviously that's not going to be as good as this one. Now, I don't know why that single core was so low. Again, I haven't updated this in a while, but that's not going to be as good. And the theme with this Meteor Lake is it's sort of like the ugly stepchild. We're waiting for Lunar Lake, and this is sort of hanging out there. And I don't know how much shelf life it's going to have once Lunar Lake comes out. And of course, don't forget, next week, I'm going to start getting the AMD Ryzen Zen 5 laptops started to come in, the Strix Point laptops. Those are coming. The embargo, I think, lifts at the end of the month. So I got my work cut out for me, that's for sure. and we have a lot to talk about there. But looking at this, obviously much better single core, much better multi-core. There's no doubt about it, as you can see there. It's pretty nice display, matte display. This is about 400 nits. This one's also, I think, 400 nits or so. Again, I have to look at the metrics. Let me take a look here real quick and my screenshots here. What did I get initially? So when I unboxed it, yeah, about 2,000 single core, 12,000. So you can get up to 12,000 multi-core. So that was what I was able to get when I unboxed this. Again, I don't know why it was so low now, but you know, there could be stuff going on here. So I wouldn't really be too concerned. So about 20, you can see it here better. Let me lower the brightness there. 2043 and 12,224. So yeah, and look, there's things happening in the background. So that's why the screen is updating there. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but there you go. So that is the X1 Carbon, and this one is the T14s. All right, we've got about 75 of you watching. All right, so let me download Cinebench 2024. Let's see what that's going to do. And the other thing I want is Crystal Disk Mark. I want to see the speed of this drive. In fact, we'll probably do that one next. So let's go to the downloads. Okay. So a lot of fun here on a Thursday evening, or at least here it's evening. I don't know where it is by you, but let's download the Crystal Disk Mark. I already did it on this one, and let's take a look at it. If I did it here, yeah, here it is. So on this one, we're looking at really good reads and writes. This has got a terabyte of storage, 7,000 reads, 5,600 writes. I don't think we're going to see those speeds on there, but you never know. Let me load this in, and then we'll see. The reason I'm showing you a Meteor Lake laptop here is because there are some stuff. And here they're telling me there are some important updates here. There's a BIOS update. There's a solid state firmware update. Actually, let me actually say yes to that, because those are going to be some important updates. So it's going to update all this. Yeah, it's updating it now. Again, I haven't used this in a while. It could be that Windows is loading the monthly updates. Who knows? Yeah, no, this one is definitely behind on updates. So there are things happening in the background. Now that this has been loaded in, let me close all this. And let's close all these for now. So this has a terabyte of storage. And for those wondering, let me go to the device manager here. By the way, this touchpad is working very well. So the device manager, as far as the disk drive here, oh, good, look at that. Something that Samsung doesn't even use. A Samsung drive here, NVMe, and it is a terabyte. So using a Samsung-based SSD, which is pretty interesting because Samsung wasn't using them, from what I understand. 6184, this might actually be one of the faster ones of the Copilot Plus PCs. So that's a good sign here. We saw about 7,000 reads on the X1 Carbon with also a terabyte of storage. So pretty interesting. Wow, that's pretty good, because I was a little disappointed by the Surface Laptop 7, and we'll talk about that in the review. Now, with that 15-inch back here, I actually got the one with the 256. And you're saying, Andrew, why are you so stupid? Why did you get the 256? There's a reason I did that. I'm going to do an upgrade to 1 terabyte that I'm going to buy from Amazon. I think it's a 2230 size SSD for $99. Whereas if I bought it from Microsoft, to go from the $12.99 price point with the 256, you're now paying $400 to get to a terabyte. Whereas here, I can do that myself and save money. I paid for that, by the way, with my own money. That's my personal laptop back there. So for those wondering, all right, let me install that update. But again, Microsoft is not sending me anything. Qualcomm did not send me anything, just so you know. Now, Lenovo did send over this one, the T14s, the X1 Carbon, obviously, and the one back there, which is the Yoga Slim 7X. But I also bought another one as my personal laptop as well, because I have to send this one back. But I like it so much that I want to have one for reference as well. As we have 70 of you watching. All right. So really good reads and writes. We're getting some updates on the X1 Carbon there. So pretty good. And the reason I'm showing you the carbon, a couple of reasons. One, showing you, different ThinkPads running different processors, but as that BIOS update is running there, but also because not only are they running different processors, but I want to show you how ThinkPads are very similar in certain design language. You get the track point, you get the mouse buttons, you get the very similar touchpad. So there's a lot of stuff going on here that they take the design cues from one another. Now, the X1 Carbon is more expensive, but you can find sales on them. You also get an OLED option, which is what we have here, 2880 by 1800. This is 1920 by 1200. So pretty interesting to show them, comparing them, obviously. But the biggest difference, I think, is going to be the way they run as far as cool and quiet. I think this one will be better, and it won't run as hot or as loud. Hopefully won't be. And, of course, there's also the fact that we're going to get, I would imagine, better battery life out of this. If it's any indication from the other Copilot Plus PCs we've been taking a look at, battery life has been pretty much really good. Now, I just did the Dell XPS 13, the 9345. I compared it to its Intel counterpart, the 9340, and that one got the best battery life. Now, interesting, Dell went with the Full HD Plus display, non-touch, like this one. And Dell, by doing that, did a couple of things. Number one, they went with amazing battery life, 27 plus hours on the video playback. And then, of course, it ran pretty cool and quiet. The other thing with that, of course, is you don't get the great display like the OLED like you get on the other option, that 2.8K OLED that they offer. So there's some trade-off there. But I think at the end of the day, if you need longevity and get work done, there's no doubt about that the Snapdragon X Elite will run cool and quiet. And that's exactly what you'd want in a business laptop like we have here. Cool and quiet and longevity. You want to get in an airplane, put it at the seat back. You want to be able to open this up and just get to work. No fuss, no muss, no heat, no noise, and really good longevity. And that's this winning formula so far. Where you're going to run into trouble is when you try to use highly specialized apps or x86 apps that have not been optimized or just won't work with the Snapdragon here with this ARM-based processor. So you may have some issues there. Some older peripherals, it just depends which one, may not work. It's a driver issue, not an emulation issue. So there's a lot of things that are going on that you have to take into consideration. But if you stick to the basics, Microsoft Office, email, web browsing, consuming media, watching Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, you're going to have a great experience. And that's, for the last month that I've been testing these, that's been pretty much the case. But let me know what you think about that. As I just go on and on and on rambling, I'm sure you're like, what is this guy talking about? 72 of you watching. All right. We have 49 likes. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get this spread out over, you know what, YouTube. All right. And this is doing its thing over here. It's doing memory training, and it'll take about 2 minutes, after which the system will reboot. Interesting. So that firmware update or the BIOS update is updating. So now that we got all that, we got our result here. If you want to take a look at it, it's 6189 and 4790. Again, some of the best reads and writes so far on these Copilot Plus PCs. So that's a good sign here. Let me take a screenshot of that. Boom, there you go. And of course, we can now go back to our downloads here. Let me go to Cinebench 2024. And let's download this. Now, when you go to Cinebench, and I'll show you here, you have to download the one for Windows on ARM. It's a second one. There are 3 options here. You go to the Windows on ARM, obviously, for this one, because this is a Windows on ARM-based PC. And I know it sounds like rudimentary, but I just wanted to point that out. You never know. Sometimes you'll download the wrong one. I've probably done that in the past. No, I'm not surprised, but I want to make sure you are getting the right one. So while that's downloading, and it may take a little bit of time. Oh, no, there it goes. So let me open that up and let's extract this. This may take a little bit of time. So yeah, see, it's going to get all that stuff now. Although this is flying through it. And as soon as I say that, it slows down. But yeah, let's take a look. So what I'll take a look at here is the back of the units. And you can see here, I like what they've done here. This is not this one, which is the one I'm using. is showing less fingerprints than usual. Normally by now, the the Eclipse Black on these ThinkPads would be filthy with fingerprints, but that's not actually the case here. So that's looking pretty good. Hinges are on pretty good on both the X1 Carbon, obviously the T14s as well. So pretty good so far. So I want to see what I got on this one. Obviously, this one's still updating and so forth. So let it do its thing here, and then we'll take a look at that once we can get that all up and running. And one thing with these Windows updates, and again, I haven't used this one in a while, so that's why I'm updating it now, but gives us something to do while we wait for this to load in. So far, I'm liking the display here. You can see it here, and pretty decent responsiveness on this touchpad. Really good. It's really good so far. So William is saying, these Qualcomm PCs are very good secondary PCs, so long as you have an older Intel or AMD PC to run those things that don't run on this Qualcomm. This is valid until compatibility issues are worked out. I agree, William. And one of the things I've been saying from a lot of these unboxings and reviews, it's early days and it'll get better. It's already gotten better, right? But if you're going to do things like high-end 4K video editing, you want to do Premiere Pro or After Effects from Adobe, well, those aren't out just yet. I know they're coming, but they're not out just yet. And there is a beta version of a DaVinci Resolve Studio 19 that is a little buggy as well, but it works. But playback's a little bit choppy and stuff, and I'll talk more about that soon. But you can use it, but it's not going to be ideal, at least not yet. It's in beta for a reason. So, yes, I agree, William. It just depends on what you're doing. If you or somebody like me who has multiple laptops, yeah, it's not a problem. But as your main laptop, be careful. Make sure all the apps that you want to use on it will work. And again, do your research, watch the videos and so forth, not just me, but others, maybe Just Josh and Matthew Moniz and all these people. Lisa at Mobile Tech Review, she's also good. I would look at those resources. I would check out online on places like Notebook Check and, of course, Windows Central and all those places. That's where you'll figure things out. May not work for you. Some things are broken. Some things, legacy stuff, may not work. But again, if you stick to the basics, Office, email, web browsing, consuming media, some gaming or ARM-based native games, they will work fine. Question from Raphael. How long do you think it will take until all compatibility issues are worked out? Well, that depends on a lot of these developers, a lot of these companies that will have to invest resources, time. Some of them don't have those resources and time, so it may never happen. I don't know, but I would think the adoption is going to be there. I think the push that Microsoft, Qualcomm has given this, they've gone all in, it seems. So it's gonna be pretty interesting. Now, one other thing, let's not sleep on AMD. Or again, end of the month, we're going to get some of these Strix Point laptops. These are based on Zen 5, and it's a big difference. Remember, Zen 4 hasn't been updated in, 2 years? So Zen 5 is just going to be a big game changer in a lot of ways. So we'll see. Greetings from a Notebook Check review. Wow, there you go, Marvin. So Marvin, say hello to Marvin, who's a Notebook Check reviewer. So we like what you're doing, and keep it up, Marvin, because it's a great resource. I'm sure most of the people here know who Notebook Check is, and Marvin is a reviewer there. So very, very nice. And and that's one resource I trust. Not every publication you can trust, but you can definitely trust Notebook Check. Now, that being said, we're waiting on this to load in. We've got Lenovo X1 Carbon with the BIOS self-healing backup progressing here, as it says. So a lot of stuff going on. If you're into this stuff, if you'd rather watch President Trump, I understand as well. I don't know if you've already spoken. Good to see Wonder Sausage here. So WOA has existed for years. Windows on ARM has existed for years, depending how you measure. This is their fourth launch. Why will it get dramatically better at this point? So in all fairness, you're right? Based on the history, we saw Snapdragon X1. We saw it, where did we see it first? We saw it on the original Surface, which was using an NVIDIA Integra, I think. Wasn't it an NVIDIA ARM-based processor? That didn't pan out. Then they went to Qualcomm. We saw it on the 8CX Gen 1, Gen 2, and the Gen 3. And it got progressively better, but it didn't get the mass adoption. They didn't buy it all in, a lot of these brands. I saw, Lenovo did on that ThinkPad X13s that I looked at, I think a year or two ago, with the third gen 8CX Gen 3, right? So that was pretty good. But the problem was it didn't have the emulation out of the box. We now have Prism. That's working a lot better. It's head and shoulders of whatever they had before. And I think from what I understand, I think the 8CX Gen 3 at least will be getting a lot of these features as far as Prism and all that. Not all the Copilot Plus features, but some in updates. So that's from what I understand. So we'll see how that all goes. In all fairness, Wonder Sausage, you're right. Why should we believe this, right? We've heard this before. It's different this time. It feels different. It feels like all the brands are in this time. There's a big push by Microsoft. Qualcomm was very involved. Obviously, they've worked all together on this, but don't sleep on AMD like I'm telling you, and don't sleep on Intel. Intel was asleep at the wheel for a while, but I think this is going to be big jump with this Lunar Lake. I think it's going to be one that we're going to want to take a look at, but you never know. Hello from our good friends at Sensal. And by the way, like I said, there is a version of the X1 Carbon with the Sensal touchpad. We don't have that, unfortunately. Hopefully at some point I can get one. Sensal, if you have an extra one laying around, you know where to send it. Of course, I'll send it back. But Lenovo, I'm sure, will provide me one at some point. So this is just the regular one that you can get, but you can also option it with a Sensal haptic touchpad, which I highly recommend, by the way. I did check it out at CES. I have seen it since, so yeah, it's very good. When are we going to see a live stream collaboration between you and Just Josh? Yeah, we've been talking about it. We're going to do something very soon, so stay tuned. Hopefully we can get our schedules together. I think he did one today. It was a very good one. He has a weekly live stream, so check it out. He probably has it still up, so you can check it out. Why is there not a standard 16-inch laptop with a battery of no less than 85 watts? Well, there are 16-inch laptops that have close to 100 watt hours. So, you mean like, the battery? Yeah, the watt hours, right? So the XPS 16, somebody remind me, what does the XPS 16 have? What does the Legion Pro I have? I don't remember. Just check it out. It's not standard because there's a few reasons. Weight-wise, heat-wise, and taking on an airplane, remember, is 100-watt legal limit. So it would be okay for the legal limit, but there are some issues with the size and weight and the heat that it generates. So that may be some of the other things. They have to fit other stuff in there. They got to fit the fans in there. Maybe there has to be vapor chamber cooling and stuff like that. So you just have to take into all those factors into account before you think, hey, well, what's going on here? All right, so this is already updated. So just out of curiosity, when I did run it way back when, I think I did Cinebench 2024 here. Let me take a look here. And what did I get on here? Let me see here. So not great. When I ran it, I did the 10-minute throttling test. It only got 485 multi-core, and it did 98 single-core. So we're seeing, again, like I said, the theme with the Snapdragons are better single and better multi-core. Now, I'm not going to run the full 10-minute test here. I'm going to turn it off. I'll run that numerous times for the full review. Let me do a custom here. Let me go to File, Advanced. We go to Preferences, Custom Duration, let's say 5. Okay, let's just do a 5-minute test. Let's run that on this one. Yeah, I'd love to do something with Josh Sensel. So yeah, that's a good suggestion. We've been talking. We'll have something coming up very soon, so stay tuned. ThinkPad is very expensive compared to the XPS. Well, so that everybody's saying the XPS is expensive. ThinkPad, here's a little secret, by the way, and Lenovo, if you're listening, close your ears. Lenovo, yeah. Usually, whenever they release a ThinkPad, whatever that initial price is, especially on these, like the X1 Carbon, it's going to be double the price of what it really should be. And after about 2-3 weeks, they're going to drop it by 40 to 50%. So never buy these Lenovo ThinkPads from their initial launch. Just wait a few weeks, even weeks, literally weeks, it will go down 40 to 50%. And that's when you buy. And then holiday, they run sales, and they constantly running aggressive sales. So there's no reason to pay full price for these. Now, Lenovo, you can uncover your ears. But I think everybody knows that, right? Everybody watches this channel knows that. So we're running the CPU multi-core test here. And again, this has 12 cores. This has 16 cores. I ran this one already. We could run it again and see what's going on. Let me see here. In fact, we could probably run them together here. Although I got a head start on that one. Let me go to downloads. It's here somewhere. Here we go. Let's see. Let's just do it for a little bit of fun here. Yeah, Raphael, Lenovo always runs sales. The ProArt, yeah, I'm getting the whole line. The ProArt line with the Ryzen AI 300 series, obviously Strix Point. I'm getting the ZenBook S16, the gorgeous white one that I looked at when I went to Computex in Taipei, which I'm very, very looking forward to checking out. Let's do a 5-minute here. So let's just do the multi-core here, and we'll see what happens here. I can tell you it's going to be better on this one. It's just the way it is, the way things stand. Yeah, so Wonder Sausage, I'm looking forward to the AMD stuff. Hopefully you guys are as well. Check the stream, make sure everything's looking okay. Everything looking okay as far as the stream is concerned. All right. So back here, getting back to this laptop 7, just initial thoughts I can give you a little bit. I'm going to move that back here for now while that's running. So with this one, and again, I already looked at the 14-inch or 13.8-inch, I should say. And one of the things that I've noticed is the build quality. It's really, really good. This is some of the best build quality, MacBook-esque, and that's a compliment. You know, we can say what we want about Apple. The build quality is really, really good on them, and this is basically on that level. One difference here that you don't get on the smaller 13.8-inch is the difference is you get a micro SD card reader. You don't get them on these, by the way, but you do get it on this one. And that's nice, right? Would it be nice a full size? Yeah, but you don't get it. On the 13.8-inch, you don't get this. You do get the Surface Connect port. And then, of course, you get the same ports as you get here. And you can see it here. The 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, the USB-A port, and the 2 USB Type-C ports, if I can bring it there. So you'll see the ports are a little bit better. The display is better than previous iterations, of course. This has smaller bezels, giving it a nice look. By the way, according to Sensel, the X1 Carbon is Gen 12, 40% off right now. Now, Sensel, is that with the Sensel haptic touchpad? I hope that is. If it is, we'll probably put a link in when we're done, and then you'll be able to buy it. So that is 40% off right now. That's good. Very good laptop. You know my feelings on that. So there you go. Very bright display, close to 600 nits. I've measured here on my measurements. Very nice touch plate. There is no Surface Pen support like you get on the Surface Pro 11 that we looked at, but you do get some pretty nice pinch to zoom and scrolling with the with your finger and all that. It really is a very nice display here. And you can see, pinch to zoom, everything works the way you'd expect it to work. And that's been pretty good. Now, one thing I did notice, a little bit of screen wobble. I want to be a little bit nitpicking here, but that's still not really the... it's not a deal breaker, put it that way. It's pretty good. It's a pretty nice laptop overall. The build quality is really, really good. So I'm very impressed with this. So again, I'm going to talk more about it. This might be up there. My favorite right now are going to be the Yoga Slim 7X. This has got to be there, the 13.8 and the 15-inch Surface Laptop 7. Those are working out pretty good. Now, according to Sensel, the 40% is across the board for all configurations, including the Build Your PC configurator. So the haptic touchpad upgrade is $36 instead of $60, and that is a steal. I'd pay the $60 for the haptics that Sensel gives you on that. So no doubt about that. So we can put this back here. All right, now let's bring this one back. We got about 3 minutes on this one. You know, these will start going. Oh, I'm running the wrong one on here. That's okay. I did the 10-minute test by accident. This is the 5-minute. That's okay. We'll let this run out. I hit the wrong one by accident. My fault. But at least you'll see the thermal throttling test, right? So that won't take that long. Question from Reza M. Do you see any major change in Surface line after Panos Panay left the group? Well, they certainly limited the number of products that they're offering. They got rid of the Buds. They got rid of the Surface Duo, you know, the phone, which I have one around here somewhere. I don't remember what I did with it. It's here somewhere, but it's back there. Let me get it. Hold on. So they got rid of this. This is the original Surface Duo, if you remember this. Panos loved this. He was on stage ranting and, you know, waxing poetic about this. Yeah, it's still my favorite in a lot of ways because you can multitask. You can do all sorts of things with this. You know, you can see it back here. Pretty nice. Actually, probably could look at it here. I don't think it's got juice. I got to plug it in, but it's just engineered beautifully. If they would have just stuck to the original OS that they wanted to put on here, I think it was not Android, but they were going to do Windows 10X on this, if I remember. And the bigger one, the Surface Neo, which was going to be a bigger form factor, would have been great. So yeah, since Panos Panay left, it's really something pretty, you know, something pretty good that's gone, right? Now, a lot of people didn't like the cameras on this original one. It didn't have a lot of the bells and whistles that you normally get, so they did the Surface Duo 2. And then they had plans for a third one. They were going to do a foldable, like in the Fold, you know, where it folds out, not the two displays. They canceled that. So Panos Panay was left packing. He went to Amazon, and they've limited what there's, you know, they just did a minor update on the Surface Laptop Studio. But they did make a major push with this Surface Pro 10. Oh, not the Pro 10. That was a minor update as far as I'm concerned to the Meteor Lake. But when they went to the Surface Laptop 7, which is what we have here back there, and then, of course, the Surface Pro 11. And I think they put their chips all in, right? So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I think a lot of the stuff that Panos did it's gone, right? They're not rolling with that. At least they haven't launched any super embarrassing things like the Studio 2 with the one i7-7820 HQ. Remember that? That was the Surface, the form factor was gorgeous. I wish they would have released a display alone. I would have bought one in a heartbeat. I didn't need the internals, right? I would like to have had an actual display that had those engineering cues on that. That would have been great. So they put the wrong hardware in some of the best. They put the wrong processor, which was like a couple of generations old, into some premium, groundbreaking hardware, if you think about it. The design was beautiful. It still holds up nice, I think, even till today. I still think about always trying to pick one up maybe, but I never do. But, you know, they would have been better off going with a modern processor. A lot of engineering had to go into that. William C. says, I still can't believe they canceled off the Duo. I love that design. And I still have the original as well as the Duo 2 is my daily to this day. Yeah, I think a lot of people, believe it or not, more than you probably think, feel the same way about this. It really is a nice piece of engineering on it. And I use it in the house. I love the fact that I can have on one screen, I can have my email on one, I can do Twitter on here, can multitask, or you can use it as a regular phone or tablet. I mean, it really is a good multitasking device. And I think that was the whole idea. It just, for some reason, the execution, the fact that they had to bake in Android as opposed to their own custom OS, I think certainly hurt them at that point. And I think that's where they ran into some trouble. And then, of course, Panos left and all that stuff, and the rest is all history at this point. Test ACC Solutions. Andrew, for the Microsoft Surface 15, does it come with all the colors, or that applies just to the 13.8? Microsoft website only has the black and silver. From what I understand, the 15 is the only one, only comes in the platinum and the black. And I have the platinum back here. Yeah, right there. So, and if you want the least amount of fingerprints, that's the one to go with. That's why it's cleanest looking. But if you go with the 13.8, you can go with the sandstone or whatever the other colors, the dune or whatever they're calling it. And then, of course, that sapphire that I looked at, that was really nice. So from what I understand, the 15 is limited to the two colors, at least from what I understand. Totally agree. The Studio 2 not having the HDMI port made it an e-waste. Yeah, I think they made a mistake on that. I think they should have made that as an actual display instead of a all-in-one. That would have been great. You could connect it to any laptop or computer, and that would have been perfect. I would have kept the touch display, the touch layer, the pen support, the Surface Pen, and all that stuff, but just made it into an external display. That would have been great. Good morning from Saudi Arabia. All right. No BS either. They're having a conversation. Carbon 12 and the new Surface Pro. Return the XPS 13 because no Sensel. So the XPS 13, like I mentioned in the video, doesn't have the Sensel haptics on there. You do get it on the XPS 14 and the 16. They are offered. Now, they use, from what I understand, they use other suppliers, but the two that I looked at were ones that had Sensel haptics on there, so haptic touchpad. So, and they work great. I thought they did a great job on the 14 and the 16. So maybe next year, if Dell's listening, they can go with Sensel on the whole line here, make it a complete Sensel touchpad here on all three. That would be great. The big Dell all-in-one that of that period had HDMI inputs. That did have it, but it didn't have the design magic that I thought that the Surface Studio had. That was just groundbreaking as far as the design. Now, you may think, well, the bezels are a little bit dated, a little bit all that. Yeah, but nothing they couldn't thin out if they made a modern version of that. I would love to. I'm still holding out hope they'll make a Surface Studio display that they can offer. And it won't be cheap, but you know what? If it's right for the job, it gets the job done, and you're in a, you need it for a project or something, it'll pay for itself. That's the way I look at it. The auto capture, they made that sensual haptics. Not only is the sensual haptics really good and responsive, but they're also sensual. That's how good they are. That's on another level, right? So that's good. I like that. That's funny. Okay, so we're waiting on these results. So according to Headcrab, I love some of these names everybody has. According to Headcrab, ThinkPads are not really on sale in Europe, only old models. Yeah, Europe is a whole thing in unto itself, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know what to say about the pricing in Europe. Europe is a mess in general about everything. So that's all. I'm going to leave it at that. Here in the U.S., at least, we do get the sales, and they are pretty aggressive, especially if you wait maybe a month, even 2-3 weeks sometimes, you'll get a discount and you'll be okay. You'll be golden there. But Europe, again, I can't, I can do nothing. I can do nothing about any of the pricing. All I can do is report on it. But it would be nice if they did have some better pricing. But again, the tariffs, the taxes there, all the BS that you have to deal with in Europe, that also rears its ugly head. So, that's what you're going to have to deal with. Yeah, Google always get the spelling wrong. Yeah. Well, the worst autocorrect is Apple with their iPhone. I cannot type on that thing. I have the 15, what is it? The Max, Pro Max, 15 Pro Max with the nice Nomad case. I'll talk about Nomad a little in a future video. But this one, it's got that little leather backing there. Autocorrect is horrible on the iPhone. I can't, it's almost to the point where I don't even want to use it anymore. When I bring out my Samsung S24 Ultra, this one works much better as far as the autocorrect and all that stuff. So my S24 Ultra is always there when I need it. But sometimes you want to use the iPhone for whatever reason. All right, so these are working, and we should get a score on both of these very, very shortly. We have about 75 of you watching. It's been a pretty good live stream so far. We've got 75 likes, so let's get to 100 likes. What do you say? Why not? If you're having fun, hit the like button. If you're not having fun, I don't know what to tell you. Go watch the speech. But so far, pretty good. Pretty good. Apple Intelligence was supposedly improved autocorrect significantly. We'll see. I don't know. Apple Intelligence or AI, whatever. You know what? It's enough with the AI, right? I'm tired of it. And that's all I hear in every briefing. The AI this. It's fine. But it's a lot of overblown, you know what? I want to know, is this going to run cool? Is this going to run quiet? And will it last me an all day in my workday? And if you can get me those three things, cool, quiet, perform. Four things. I want it to be cool, quiet, performance, and of course, last in terms of endurance. And Headcrab liked the video, like this live stream. There you go. And if you're watching this as a replay, when this is finished, why not hit the thumbs up anyway? Okay, let's see what this person has to say. Hey, Andrew, I'm looking to buy a laptop for college. Which would you recommend for me of the Elite and the Snapdragon? Thank you. So I recommend right now, my big recommendation for students is the Lenovo Yoga Slim 7X. That's a good one. By the way, the HP OmniBook X, which, there were some things I had concerns about, is on sale for $200 off. So now it's at $999, which makes it a little bit more intriguing. So that may be another one to take a look at. So those two you want to look at. If you don't mind going to the Snapdragon X Plus, the Surface Pro 11 and the Surface Laptop 7 have variants starting for a student at $899. Remember, there's a student-teacher military discount. So if you're a student, then you can get that $100 discount starting at $899 with expandable storage. Really easy, actually. I'll show you in the video coming up on the Surface Laptop 7. I would recommend that if you don't need the extra cores, the extra couple of cores that you get on the X1 Elite. So if you can be okay with the X1 Plus, which I think you might be, that may be a way to go. Otherwise, spend the $1,100 or $1,200, buy the Slim 7X. I think you're going to like the OLED display. You're going to like everything about it. Cosmic blue finish. It looks good, works good. There you go. Now, there's another, I wouldn't buy anything until 728 Wonder Sausage. You know the deal, right? Shh, we can't talk about that yet. There's embargoes, but you're not under embargo, but I am. So yes, the 28th is going to be the launch. I don't think it's no big secret. Good to see Pete Fox. How are you? With a beautiful super chat. Thank you, my friend. Very generous. Thank you for covering all of the new ARM laptops. Super helpful for determining which laptops are worthy of deploying for business. So far, I'm personally enjoying the Surface Laptop 7, and it's up there. So that's on the top of the end, right? So you got the Yoga Slim 7X, you got the Surface Laptop 7 as my two favorite. The Samsung had the potential with the design, the build quality was really good, but they always screw up somewhere. Samsung can't get themselves right. They need a better touchpad. I would prefer if they contact Sensel, because Sensel's watching, obviously, but all joking aside, they should really contact Sensel to put their haptics into their touchpad. If they want to compete with the MacBook Air, the MacBook Pros, or these other laptops, the Surface Laptop 7, with these haptic touchpads, they better get their act together and contact Sensel, because Samsung lost the ball there. They dropped the ball. They could have put, for that price point, they could have put a haptic touchpad. Now, they did drop at some point last week, whatever it was. I mean, hopefully it's still that way. $300, so it went to the $11.99, which made it a little bit more palatable, $10.99. I think it was $1,100 all in. I think that was a much better price, but I still think there are some issues there. Didn't love the keyboard. It's a little bit shallow for my liking, as I told you. I like the thinness. I like how light it is. I like the build on it. I mean, the metal, it's all really premium. The display is beautiful. The AMOLED 2X display, what was not to like? They just didn't do the results that we wanted to see. Now, the test, according to Michael, let's see the test. Here you can see on this one, we could take a look at it here, 629 versus 351. So you can see here. So I don't know if you can see it, but this says 351 multi-core, 629. So there's the proof right there. Again, not great on here. That's throttling. That's doing something. This one's not. Although that's not a great score overall, but again, I have to update it. It's not bad. That's a good score. It's better than this one. Now, if we do, let's go back to the custom 5 here. Well, let's just turn it off and let's just run the single core, and let's see how these do. And then this is where this really, really shines, is a single core. Now, the Asus AI 300 models have been on Best Buy's website for a couple of weeks. Yeah, they can pre-order them, actually. Definitely no secret. No, it's not a secret. And if you saw my video when I was in Taipei, thanks to Asus, by the way, for bringing me out there, I was really, really impressed with that Snapdragon, not the Snapdragon, that Asus ZenBook S16. And I got to tell you, that beautiful white color, they're calling it the Ceraluminum. It's a combination of ceramic and aluminum. And I got to tell you, whatever they did on that, it looks really gorgeous. It feels great. It's light. It's pretty nice. I didn't get a chance to benchmark it or anything. I wasn't allowed. But physically, looking at it, the aesthetics were really, really good. So if you didn't see it, it's over on my channel. It's about a month ago when I went to Taipei for Computex. I was able to get a look at that. According to William, Samsung also needs to redesign their numpad or just remove it. I agree on that one as well. It was not a proper design, not a proper layout. So if you're not going to do it right, don't do it at all, right, William? So I agree with you on that. Lenovo is a Chinese company. It is, but they're run here in the U.S. by the U.S. team here. They were very, very good to work with. But they are a Chinese company. Yeah, that white one has 24 gigabytes of RAM, a terabyte of storage, $13.99, super attractive. Yeah. And again, I can't talk about it till the 28th. I want to talk so bad right now, but I can't. But you can talk all you want. It is available at Best Buy to pre-order if you go over to the website. I did notice that. And having used it while I was in Taipei, it is beautiful. And it's running the new Zen 5 AMD chip there. Now that's going to have, I think, 50 tops, which would beat the 45 tops of the Copilot Plus Snapdragon-based units. So we're waiting on these. These are going to be the single core. So for those joining us late, I have the Lenovo T14s running the Snapdragon X Elite. It's the Gen 6 product here. And then, of course, this is the X1 Carbon Gen 12 that we're just comparing. Why not? I said we have it here. I updated it and so forth. But we're going to see about 100, 98 to 100 on the single core. I would see over 100, maybe 118. 117 to 118 we've been seeing on here, 115, it depends. We'll see how this one does. So there you go. We've been going for an hour and 18 minutes, so we'll get this test done. We'll see, we'll go from there. But good questions tonight. So according to Sensel, Lenovo is a Chinese company. The ThinkPad ARM is still operated out of Japan, a legacy of the IBM ThinkPad team being out of Japan and Raleigh. That is correct, in Raleigh, North Carolina. I think I was invited to go to their headquarters one year, but I don't know what happened. I couldn't go. I had a conflict. I couldn't go. but hopefully one day I'll get out there. I've been to the Dell headquarters in Austin. I've been to HP in Palo Alto, and I've been to Asus in Taipei. Where else did I go? And I have more to go. Wherever life takes me, I'll go. Can you believe that I'm able to be put in that position? You know, I started off with nothing, right? We started this channel 7 years ago, whatever it was, 2016. What are we now? Oh, so we're on the 8th year. And we grew to almost 165,000 subscribers. We got 43 million views. You have to pinch me. I mean, I got to be the luckiest guy there is. Of course, it's a lot of a lot of long days, even longer nights, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Having worked closely with Lenovo for many years, their non-Chinese elements are mere intermediaries. Okay. I only deal with the mere intermediaries. I don't deal with the higher ups, I guess. I don't know. All I know is if the product's good, I'm okay. I'm okay. And don't put any spyware. If you don't do any of those things, we're okay. Oh, don't put McAfee. That pisses me off. Oh, all right. Yeah, but I now I'm getting invited. I'm going to IFA Berlin for the second year in a row. I'm very, very fortunate, and it doesn't, I'm very appreciative of that. I understand. I can't take it for granted. We got to keep grinding. We got to keep pushing, got to keep growing here. Nothing's going to stop us. We're going to keep going. We got this drive here, and I want to get to reach as high as possible and keep going, because there's too many. We can't stop to smell the roses. We should probably. It goes to show that time flies when you're having fun. Yeah. It goes too fast, William, a little too fast. I'd like for it to slow down a little bit. According to JC, I have the T14s AMD, and it is a beast, one of the low energy consumption screens. And that's what we have here. This is the low energy. Again, this is running a Snapdragon. I wish I had the AMD version that you had that we can sort of compare and contrast. So that would be pretty interesting. And good morning, by the way, from Thailand. Slow screen coming from a Legion 5i. So again, when you're talking business-focused ThinkPads, the refresh rate is not going to be the focus, right? We're talking about getting best battery life and less distraction. We don't want to have these glary, reflective displays. We want to be able to get work done, although they do offer this in this beautiful OLED 2.8K panel, which is what we're looking at on this Carbon here. I need more subs. I get that a lot. Why don't I have 1 million subscribers? Why, YouTube's a funny thing. Only like 1% of my subscribers are getting fed my videos by YouTube, getting served my videos. So YouTube is actually broken, in my opinion. It's been broken for many years, but that's okay. I can provide, whoever's coming to click on these videos are not necessarily coming to see me. They're coming to get the information that they're looking for. A lot of search-based traffic, a lot of interest in a particular product or product line, and there you go. And that's what happens. So whether I get 100,000, 200,000, it doesn't matter. I have a nice core audience here that I can engage with. I can do these live streams, and it's really the best. This is my favorite part of this whole thing, right? Is being able to go live, the live testing, the unboxing. This is my favorite. Making the videos, yeah, I enjoy it, and I do enjoy doing it. It's a lot of work, testing and all that, but this is my favorite part, being able to engage with you, the audience, and that's why I continue to do it. Yeah, I may not get as many views on the live streams as I do on the on-demand videos, but I don't care. I think it's more important to me to develop my audience to a one-on-one kind of engagement. And I think that, to me, is the most important thing that I enjoy. And I really enjoy it. And I appreciate that, Mohammed. My contact is the effing best in computer laptops. Okay. All right. I appreciate that. If it is not in this channel, I don't buy it. Oh, wow. That is a very nice compliment. There's some great channels that are maybe better than mine. Look, you got Just Josh. He's doing a great job. You got Matthew Moniz, who's been doing it longer than me. Lisa's been doing it longer than everybody, and she's great at over Mobile Tech Review. There are plenty of resources, but there also are a lot of channels that are, how should I put this? They're not real reviewers, okay? They're not real reviewers. They're more into the fame. They're more into making money. They're more into um, you know, getting the sponsorships and all that. And I do some of that stuff. I did a couple of sponsored videos last week. That does pay the bills. It helps keep the lights on, obviously. But and I try to make videos that are sponsored or showcases that products that I would use. Like I would use the UPerfect 17.3-inch desktop monitor that's portable, right? That you could take with you. That I use. I do use that one in real world, no joke. I even use it with decks. It's really good, actually. But yeah, there is plenty of great products out there that I would obviously take sponsorships. But there are channels there that's all they do, and they don't tell you. They just pretend they're not getting paid and not telling you that. I think that's wrong. Legally, it's wrong, and just on a moral basis, it's wrong. All right, Senso, thank you. I appreciate that. And working with companies like Sensel has really been a pleasure. You know, they're not paying me or anything. They've just been very supportive of my channel. They make a good product. Their Sensel haptics are excellent. And everything that they touch makes the products that they're in better. And that's just the truth. And I would tell you, I wouldn't be singing Sensel's praises if it wasn't true. Yeah. But, you know, that's just my opinion. Don't take it just for my word. Look at Daniel Rubino over Windows Central. He's a big proponent of Sensel. He likes what they're doing. Other reviewers feel the same way. Notice how there is not one negative thing said about the Surface Laptop 7 touchpad, the Surface Pro 11 in that Flex Pro keyboard, in any of the, you know, the ThinkPads that they're in. Any of the laptops they're in, there's never been a complaint. Well, this touchpad does not responsive. It's not great. It's the ones where they're not using it is where that is, you know, where that you're getting the problems. Shocking. Some YouTubers will regurgitate corporate marketing materials. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Unfortunately, there's another problem, a little dirty secret in this industry that's really becoming more of a problem, and that is paid views. So what you're not also seeing, and a little bit behind the curtains, and again, I don't do this, because if you watch my videos, and the proof is there, if you see any of my videos that, you know, say if I get 20,000 views, I'll get the requisite amount of comments, and I'll get the requisite amount of likes that would coincide with a 20,000 view video. But when you see a video that gets 20,000 views with only 10 comments and 12 likes, what does that tell you? That means they're buying the views. There are ways to promote it through YouTube where the views are not actual real views, but more paid promotion to get views, that YouTube is taking money from them, and then they'll give you those views. But it's really not helping their channel, because they're not getting any engagement from these views. It's really empty. And in the end, it really hurts your channel long-term, even for a short-term gain. You know, where it does help is get more sponsored videos. Hey, look, I had a 50,000 view, you know, video, when the reality was they only had like 10 likes and like two comments. I've seen that, and it's just not right. Preach. Yeah, you like that. No, I don't sugarcoat anything. And I'll tell you if I'm being sponsored, I'll tell you. But one thing I won't do is I won't buy views. I'll never do that. And if I do that, it's over. You know, I don't want to be in this business. It's dirty. And what opened my eyes is when I went to Taipei, I saw a lot of these other creators, like they're putting these videos out. They're getting in like 200-300 views. They're not organic. And then they buy they promote it through YouTube. They buy it, the paid views. And then all of a sudden they got 10,000 views, but really it's empty views. It doesn't do anybody any good. Andrew, the term you're looking for with regards to reviewers looking for money or fame is scenester. That's a very good. I like that. A person associated with or immersed in a particular fashionable cultural scene. So yeah, and I think it's ruining this tech industry, or tech YouTube as they call it. And I think that's a big problem. Why don't they buy likes too? Well, they do. Well, I guess they don't, right? People are not liking because they're not real views, is my opinion. They're not actual organic views. I guess, I don't know if they could buy likes. Maybe you could, I don't know. I don't do it, so I don't know. But what opened my eyes was how rampant that problem is. Remember that in the 50s, there was an issue with payola? you know, where they would pay to have their records played on the radio, and if you didn't pay, you didn't get played. Well, it's kind of like that, and that was illegal, by the way, and it's kind of like that. So, you know, I don't know what else to say about that. It's disheartening, and it hurts the platform because now they're not showing my videos. They're promoting other videos, but because they're looking to promote their own thing, their own promotion, YouTube I'm talking about, and going to the bigger channels rather than a smaller channel like mine, small to medium, whatever you want to call me. They're not promoting my videos, and my subscribers are not seeing my videos. They're not being put in front of them. They're not serving it to them, and that's it. Andrew, your reviews are very good quality reviews. That's what sets you apart from those paid and mediocre reviews. I appreciate that. And by the way, I'm not naming names. I'm not trying to put anyone down. You do what you got to do to survive in life. I know I've done what I needed to do in life, but as far as this is concerned, I want to do it the right way. I've built this channel. Yeah, I may not have like millions of subscribers, but you know what? I got a nice 165,000 subscribers. They're core, they're loyal, and they watch my videos. So I get the good views. I get the real organic views. Now, I heard complaints that the new Snapdragon laptops aren't fanless like MacBook Air. It would be nice if they were completely silent. Yeah, like right now we're pushing the CPU 100%. Very low fan noise on this one. It's low on this one, but it is more noticeable on the Intel. But this was pretty low to begin with. I think the Meteor Lake on the X1 Carbon was lower than previous models. But no MacBook Air silence, right? So MacBook Air passively cooled. That has its pros and cons too. We've talked about that before. When it's passively cooled, it'll thermal throttle. If you're doing anything of heavy sustained workloads for more than 10 minutes, it'll throttle, but that's another story. But it is completely silent. Apple's done a really, really good job, and you need to, you know, compliment them where they came through. Their engineering on that has been pretty amazing. But we want to see a Windows laptop. It doesn't necessarily have to be totally silent, although when you're doing everyday tasks with these Copilot Plus PCs, they pretty much have been. So it's where you like put, like I'm doing this is not normal, right? You're putting 100% CPU performance and you're going to get a little bit of fan noise, but that's normal. I mean, that's not, but, and they're not overly, this is not overly loud. So what is Joker's Watson? I wonder what they are talking about at Lenovo watching the MAGA rally. You know, that's the other thing. We got a pretty good turnout considering the RNC is going on with President Trump. So I don't know. Who knows what's going on? I'll watch the replay when I'm done. But I think Biden's finished, to be honest with you. I think even Obama is telling him to step down from what I hear. So it's not looking good. He's really doing nobody any favors. I think he's finished. I think physically, mentally, he's done. I don't think he's here. I don't think he's here. And that's just unfortunate. All right, so we got our score here, 108. 108. So that's good. That's going to be good. Now, I think one of the highest we saw was the Dell. I think it was 118, 119 on the XPS 13. So again, I didn't update this. There's probably firmware updates that need to be updated on this. So we're still waiting on the X1 Carbon for its result, but it's not going to be this good. I don't think it will be. Aren't the ThinkPads more modular? Can't you replace and upgrade certain parts? Yeah, but that was the case a few years ago. I think they're soldering the RAM here. You can replace the SSD. I'll open it up in the upcoming review. I think we're running out of time here. But, you know, overall, I think what we're seeing on these laptops is they're getting thinner and they're getting lighter. Not necessarily a good thing, by the way, but we want to see better battery life. We want them to run cool and quiet. And that's one of the promises of the Snapdragon. I think for the most part, they nailed it. The problem is compatibility issues on some specific apps. If you're a gamer, you really don't want to look at this because there's just not enough games that are working. And I think you want to look at more stable graphics. You're going to look at the Intel and AMD right now. We'll see. Again, we have those Strix Point coming, AMD Ryzen 300. Those are all coming, Zen 5, and we got Intel's Lunar Lake. Now, according to Wonder Sausage, all Snapdragons are soldered RAM because the RAM type speed doesn't exist in DIMM form. Yeah, 8448 megatransfers per second. And what we're talking about, if you look over here, if I go to the task manager, and I'll show you exactly what we're talking about, you'll see here, if I go here, the memory down here, 8448. And that is not possible in a DIMM form. Now, by the way, since we're here, here's the NPU. Nothing's happening, nothing's being used. But if we open the camera and do stuff like that, it'll start using the NPU. So that is that. So let me take my screenshot of this. And I'll run more tests on this, obviously, for the full review. You know, that's coming. Let's just get this result, and then we can compare it. 108 on this one. On that single core, we're just waiting. It's almost done. Being the first adopter of a new concept like Windows on ARM is a bit too risky for me. I remember Betamax versus VHS, and we know how that turned out for Betamax. Not too good. So I understand your point. Again, we have some interesting stuff coming. We got the AMD coming end of the month, and then we got towards the end of the year, we're going to start seeing, guess what, Lunar Lake, and we have some decisions to make. According to Wonder Sausage, all four I know, they all have M.2 NVMe except Samsung, which uses EUFS. Don't get me started on that. Although most of them are 2230, which cannot have a DRAM cache. The Asus I know has 2280. Yes, that is correct. You're right about the 22. I think it's 22. I don't know if it's 2230, but I think it might be 2242. The laptop, the Surface laptop, has 2230. That's a really small one. 2242, I think, is what we find in the Yoga Slim 7 back there. You don't see it. You can see it back here, right there. So there you go. I'm still questioning and still looking. Does Snapdragon Elite support virtualization? You know, I don't know. I got to start looking into that. I know as far as Linux, as far as that is concerned, that's supposedly coming. Some people, I guess, are running it. I don't know. And then what's the other? So virtual machines, virtualization, all stuff that may or may not work. I know Citrix works from what Josh says and stuff like that where you can remote in. So again, it just depends what software you're using. But if you stick, like I said, if all you do is web browsing, email, surfing the web, obviously, like I said, and then, you know, consuming movies, music, whatever, this is going to be perfectly fine. These will work perfectly fine. And that is 85, which is even worse than I expected. So again, that is the problem with Meteor Lake. Although I got 98 when I reran it the original time. And there's some major updates that are showing their required updates. All right, so where are we? I think, you know, I normally do some more testing on this, but right now we're at an hour and 37 minutes. So I think what I'm going to do is call it here. We got into a little bit of good conversation tonight. I promise you I'll have more to say on this very soon. So far, least amount of fingerprints so far. Pretty impressive. I will have more to say, but good single, good multi-core. Expect good battery life. What is the battery? Let's take a look at the specs here. So this has a 58 watt hour battery. So it should be along par with the others here. And especially with that full HD plus non-touch display, it should give us even more battery life than some of the other touchscreen OLED options and so forth. All right. So if you go, if you go to turn Windows features on or off, is there a checkbox for Hyper-V? So how would I do that? That'll be the last thing we'll do. So if I go into the settings, let's see here. Let's see. Turn Windows features off. Okay, so let's see. Turn Windows features off. All right, you tell me, what am I looking for? Is there a checkbox for Hyper-V? Does anybody see? Yeah, so there is a checkbox for Hyper-V right there. Right there. What do I do? Okay, so is that good? That's bad? I don't know. You know better than me on that. Take care, William. I'll just wait on Wonder Sausage. It's a little delayed. Yes, there is. Yeah, there is. Yes, there is. Hopefully that helps you guys. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Tell us. 2.8K or 3.2 mini LED. Both have their issues. I like OLED, although the mini LED will get brighter. Although the tandem OLED on that Dell XPS 13 is pretty amazing. But yeah, I mean, I think I am an OLED guy. In the end of the day, the really deep blacks, the really high contrast, all that stuff. All right, that implies that at the very least, it can run another instance of Windows on ARM in a virtual machine. Okay. I guess that's encouraging. All right. Glad we checked that. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it a live stream. It's right now an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah, I think we're a little bit past our time here. I want to see what President Trump had to say and all that stuff. So everybody, I want to thank you. The moderators do a great job once again, Raphael, William, for coming through. And great questions, great comments. I want to thank everybody, and I'll see everybody next time. Remember, we're coming up on some really good stuff from AMD, Ryzen stuff here. We're talking Zen 5. We got Lunar Lake coming. We got the test all this stuff. I'm so inundated right now, but I love it. This is what I do it. This is why we do it, all right? So until next time, everybody, I'll see you, and have a great rest of your week. A lot of stuff coming, so make sure you are subscribed. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, evening, or afternoon.